Of federal prosecutors was first reported by the liberal paper of record, the New York Times, but the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric has gone over the top with its reporting, leading with the story 4 out of 5 nights last week, prompting the White House to respond. President Bush issued a stern warning to Democrats tonight, stating that they need to accept his offer, allowing top aides to testify privately under oath, otherwise face a constitutional face-off that he would be intent on winning.
However, we will not go along with a partisan fishing expedition aimed at honorable public servants. I have proposed a reasonable way to avoid an impasse. I hope they don't choose confrontation. I will oppose any attempts to subpoena White House officials.
Thanks for being with us. Let me start. First of all, I think you'll agree with me as a conservative. The Republican response to this whole firing of 8 U.S. attorneys has been pathetic and weak, and they clearly don't seem to understand the vitriol the Democrats have towards them. Do you agree with that assessment?
You know, I think there's a bunch of things going on. I think, number one, there hasn't been a lot of goodwill built up for Alberto Gonzales on Capitol Hill. And certainly, I have my issues with Alberto Gonzales. I think he's a very nice man. He's obviously a good friend of the president's. But has he been a really effective attorney general? And you have to ask yourself, Sean, if you cannot outwit Matt Lauer on the Today Show, and you're the Attorney General of the United States, as we saw last week, then I think you're in some trouble. All right, and I think he's in some trouble today because he does not come across in interviews or when he's on Capitol Hill testifying as someone who is in control of all the facts and control of what's going on in his department.
Maybe you have issues with Attorney General Gonzales. That's fine. But this ought not be the issue. And by that I mean, for example, it seemed in the Clinton years they fired 93 attorneys to get to 2, one investigating Whitewater and another investigating Dan Rostenkowski, who eventually got a pardon by Bill Clinton. And it seems Republicans are ineffective at hitting back until today. And the president drew a line in the sand, and I think he was forceful, I think the case was strong, I think he was reasonable, and I think he was right. But I think his fellow Republicans have been, frankly, pathetically weak.
Well, remember what's been going on here, though. I mean, he did go up to Capitol Hill, and he did say something that some of these emails from the Justice Department to the White House are kind of contradicting. I mean, saying that there's no politics involved in getting rid of these U.S. attorneys. And you're right, Sean. They had every right to get rid of all of these people. And what I'm saying is that an effective, articulate, strong, conservative attorney general would have looked at those congressmen on Capitol Hill, looked at those senators and said, we can get rid of any of these people for any reason. And these attorneys, these U.S. attorneys had different priorities than this president, and so we dispense with them. End of story. It wouldn't have been a story.
And the president acknowledged the explanation was confusing at times. He said his staff will cooperate, but he's not going to allow this to become a fishing expedition, and not, more specifically, to be, a partisan show trial, as he used the term here.
Absolutely, and the president is exactly right. What's going on here is Chuck Schumer and Pat Leahy have their little hands, and they're rubbing their little hands together because they think if they get Karl Rove under oath, they can back him into a perjury prosecution. That's what they want to do.
That's what they want to do, and to allow his staff to be set up that way would be a huge mistake. I think the president was right.